Erling Haaland is the type of player that people won't even know has scored even a single goal. But at the end of the season, he'll just be there standing still with a decent shot at the Ballon d'Or, having 40 plus goals. Yup, this is the man, the Noshk beast. Alright, and in this video, I'm gonna be talking about his chances of winning this year's Ballon d'Or. He is a stat padder indeed, and now I'm gonna be talking about the stats, the very factor that stand him a chance of getting a little bit closer to that Ballon d'Or. But we all know the closest it's ever been or will ever be was 2023, when a certain someone was there to just steal that award. Nevertheless, things like these happen nowadays a lot. Oh my god. 42 goals and 6 assists in 55 games is an absolutely mind-blowing stat itself, but we'll have to keep in mind that Erling Haaland is all about stats. He's not the kind of a flashy winger type, the striker who's just gonna dribble past the entire team. No, he's just a strong, tall striker that's there in the box, has a lot of pace, and just scores goals for fun. In the Premier League, he had 0.72 goals per 90, 0.82 GA per 90, 2 hat-tricks, 59 out of 91 shots on target, 4.14 shots per goal, 13 out of 34 dribbles completed. See, he is not that kind of a dribbler. He is just a proper, pure number 9 that won't do anything else except for just scoring the goals. If we are talking about the trophies Man City has been able to win this season, there aren't many, of course, because Community Shield, if I'm not wrong, is counted for the last season because it is played between the Premier League and the FA Cup winner. So yeah, it's the only trophy that Man City were able to win last season, and Erling Haaland was as well, although he didn't score in that final. So in the Premier League, they got third, which is an absolute miracle because of the form and the way Man City were playing midway through the season. I would have been surprised if they hadn't even qualified for a single European competition. Well, Arsenal finishing second above them, no surprise at all. In the FA Cup, they lost to Crystal Palace. Well, these kind of upsets won't just seem so much surprising right now because of the way Crystal Palace defeated Liverpool in this year's Community Shield final. So yup, kudos to Crystal Palace, they did pretty well. In the EFL Cup, they got knocked out very early by Tottenham Hotspur. What is it with Tottenham Hotspur and Man City? Tottenham most of the times is able to get the better of them, but most of the time or always they aren't able to win the entire competition, as happened in the UEFA Super Cup final yesterday. In the UCL, this was the competition in which Man City was the most underwhelming big team, except I'd say AC Milan maybe. They were knocked out by Real Madrid. When I say this line, you might think it is in the quarterfinal or the semi-final of the Champions League, but no, they got knocked out in the preliminary round of the Champions League when a team does not directly qualify for the round of 16. They have to go through another round, and in that round, Man City were unfortunate enough to face Real Madrid, who were on also not a very good run. But against that kind of Manchester City, everyone's able to get through. And in the Club World Cup, when I got to know about the brackets, the group brackets, and how will the round of 16 to the final road play out, I was pretty much sure that Man City would be a guaranteed finalist when I saw that bracket. But they got knocked out in the round of 16, man. Pep Ball is not balling at all, even though they have got now Cherki, Tiani Reinders, and all those kind of players. But it will eventually come to senses, I think. But last season, it was an absolute disaster class by both Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. Coming to the key performances of Erling Haaland, well, this man is all about scoring goals, and he did it beautifully last season. Consecutive hat-tricks versus Ipswich Town and West Ham United. Consecutive at the start of the season, at the very start, I think it was the second and the third game of that season. My God, and because of this match, we were given the false hope that Erling Haaland is starting off from where he left last season. A hat-trick versus Kazakhstan. Now you may be thinking, Kazakhstan? Well, I didn't even know that was a football nation. But apparently a hat-trick is a hat-trick, and because of that he was able to rack up almost 8 goals in the UEFA Nations League. And finally, 2 goals versus Real Madrid at the Etihad, which went in absolute vain because Madrid not only won that match, but in the next match when Erling Haaland was injured and he couldn't win that match as well. So, that couldn't be called as a key performance. But still, 2 goals versus Real Madrid. I remember when previously Madrid were facing Manchester City year in, year out. Haaland wasn't able to score even a single goal. He was being pocketed first by Rudiger, then Nacho, but Asensio, Haaland was able to somewhat get a hold of. And finally, I'm going to be giving my opinion as to will Haaland be a Ballon d'Or contender. Well, he is a Ballon d'Or contender, of course, because that's the reason he got into the 30 nominees list. But individually, he had a good season, 42 goals. That is what we expect from Erling Haaland. But with Manchester City, it was an absolute stinker, to be fair. And if you aren't able to win trophies, you don't even stand a chance at the Ballon d'Or. He really shouldn't have said that famous catchphrase that will haunt him for his life. Stayambale. Well, I'm saying in a British accent, but he's not. So he might have said it like this. Stayambale. When I think of it, I think the reason behind Manchester City's such a horrible season might just be John Stones, because if he hadn't scored that late equaliser against Arsenal in the Premier League, Haaland wouldn't have said the famous catchphrase "Stay humble," and nothing had just started to go downhill. So, John Stone, you are the culprit. As for Haaland, he isn't even close to the Ballon d'Or. But I think that he will be able to get into the top 15 easily because of his individual performances alone. But considering that most of his goals were against small teams, so I don't think he even stands a chance. So this was it for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And until then, adios.